Hey everyone, welcome back to the Talking North podcast. A 16-point loss to the Demons pretty much seals our chance of making Wildcard in 2026. Our third loss in a row, and this one very flattening. After what was such a good start to the game, we really dropped our level and struggled to score and struggled to move the ball for a lot of the game, and Melbourne showed their class and how much of a better team they are than us. But in saying that, I think this was a winnable game, and it was a game that I thought that we had a chance to win, especially at Marvel Stadium. And yeah, with how well we played in that first quarter, we just dropped the ball from then on. We let Melbourne control the game. They dominated us in every facet of the game, and I think the 16-point margin is generous. We got 3 junk time goals that, apart from maybe helping our percentage a little bit, are pretty meaningless. And there was some pretty big issues that I noticed from this game. I think the likes of Nick Larkey, he's really struggling, really struggling. He got 0 goals 2 for the game, but it wasn't even that. It was actually his ability to compete in the air. I thought it wasn't good enough from him. He got, soundly beaten by Jake Lever, who is a quality defender. But I think, there's something really off with Larky at the minute. And I think this performance was different to the ones in the previous weeks. Previous weeks, he's just been inaccurate. This game, he was uncompetitive. And it's not good enough, but at the same time, we've got to stick by our captain because he's done so much for this club. And the only way he'll get over this is if we back him, if he backs himself, if his teammates back him. So really frustrating to see Larky's struggles, and it's definitely having some implications on other players in the team. I think our other forwards were okay. I think Paul Curtis started the game extremely well. Like the first 2 goals of the game, I'm pretty sure, or 2 of the first 3 goals. Ended up with 3 for the day. Looked like he was going to have a huge game after that first 5 minutes. Unfortunately, couldn't impact as much for the rest of the game, but I don't think that's as much his fault. Spargo was alright. He got 2 goals in the first quarter. But I think apart from his goals, he doesn't do much, which is not great because we brought him in the team to be a little bit of a connector between the mids and the forward line, but I can't be too harsh on him because he did kick 2 goals. Jack Darling, 2 straight, was really solid. I think Whitlock isn't quite working in the team. I think we're way too tall in our forward line. I think when the ball hits the ground, we just didn't have a small forward. I know Spargo kind of is, but it's a bit different. He plays more on the flanks. We didn't have Banch, Constanti, or Doveston in the team, which I thought was a mistake. When the team was announced, Banch obviously injured, but Constanti and Doveston are playing in the VFL this weekend. So, bit odd. I think that decision to go so tall up forward, and it definitely had negative impacts, I'd say, in our ability to get the ball when it hit the ground. I think throughout over the whole ground, not just in our forward line. I think we were too tall. The forwards did what they could with the entries that we gave them. I think we were really accurate early, and then we just the kicking woes kind of came back, particularly Nick Larkey and Jai Simpkin. They missed 2 fairly gettable shots. I think the midfield was probably beaten, to be honest, and we don't say that often. We won more centre clearances, but they were +2 in clearances overall. More hit-outs, more damage from clearances is kind of what I'm alluding to. I think, the clearance numbers were pretty similar, but theirs were more forward of centre. And there was 1 goal to start the 4th quarter where none of our midfielders were running back, and it's not acceptable when our midfielders maybe not refuse, but don't put in the effort to try and run back on defence, especially when Melbourne get the ball so out at the front of their stoppage. And I think That's been an issue for years, and unfortunately it still is. Even with the calibre of midfielders we have there, their defensive liabilities are still very, very clear, unfortunately. I think the standout in the middle was Harry Sheezel. He is putting together an unbelievable month or two of footy. Like, I genuinely think it deserves more recognition. 33, a goal. He's hitting the scoreboard now. I think this might be the third or fourth week in a row where he's kicked a goal and got at least 30 or like 28 disposals. Like, he's like one of the informed players in the league, and the fact that his form isn't reflecting in the results is really frustrating, because I think with a player in his vein of form right now, I don't know why we're not able to get the results. The players around him aren't stepping up to his level, and Sheezel's really, I think early in the year, I think it was, I was saying, and a lot of others were saying, LDU is the guy in the midfield. And I think he is in a way, because he's a bit older. He's maybe a little bit more damaging at clearance, but Harry Sheezel is our best player. Like, we have to just admit that. And he is a superstar, and I really, really hope we don't waste him. His form is so good. He's such an incredible player that I just want the players around him to lift to his level. We hear all the stuff he does off-field, everything like that. He's just such a professional, and I want our other players, particularly our young players, to get on board with his attitude and his approach to games and training. We're so lucky to have Harry Sheezel. I don't know where we would be without him. He's genuinely one of the best players in the AFL. I'm very confident and happy to say that he is. And if people want to deny it, they can, but just look at his performances. It's not just him getting possessions now. He's having such impact on games. Just shout out Sheezel. He's continuing to impress me. I think he'll win another best and fairest. I think he can make the All-Australian squad. Maybe not the team, because there's some really good midfielders in the league, but I think he's up there in the top 50 players in the league, 100%. Sherry was good again. Actually, he did quite well on Gawn, I gotta say. And when Heath was in the ruck, I think Sherry's putting together some nice form. Obviously, Gawn was great. He's always good. 23 touches, 8 marks, and 21 hitouts for Gawn. But Sherry was pretty good as well. A goal, 19, 15 hitouts, 9 clearances. He got 6 more clearances than Gawn. He got the second most clearances for the game. But yeah, some of the Melbourne players had just exceptional performances. Tom Sparrow, wasn't too familiar with him going into the game, and he just gets 33, a goal and 10 clearances. Maybe we were too focused on Cozzy Pickett, because they have some quality players outside of Cozzy. That's why I think maybe in my preview I was a little bit too focused on Cozzy Pickett and Gawn. Obviously, they're two best players, but my God, they've got some superstars in this team, Melbourne, and I think they're going to be a real threat for the rest of the year. So I don't think losing to this Melbourne side is something to be ashamed of, because they are a quality team. We have to give them their flowers. But I think the fact that we're in the position so early in that game to really go out and get a big lead and not being able to capitalise on that is so frustrating. We were only up at 12 at quarter time. I really thought we could have been up by more, to be honest. I think we played better than a 2-goal lead, I reckon, in that first quarter. And yeah, just kicking 1 goal in the second and 1 in the third was just not good enough. It was that third quarter where the game really got away from us, and they got out to a pretty hefty lead in that last quarter. I think it's probably around 35 points at one point, I think. And I think they probably should have put the game to bed. They've had a few issues this year with being able to finish off games. I think if we were playing a more mature team, an older team, I think we would have got absolutely smashed yesterday. Looking into the back line, I think they were okay. They weren't great, though. It wasn't one of the back line's better performances. We actually had more inside 50s than them, 6 more inside 50s than them. Above the league average, above our average. It was just our entry was awful. They ended up having 27 scoring shots to our 21. So they were scoring probably too much when they were going in, I think. some of their forwards had some pretty good days. Matthew Jefferson, probably his career best game. He was really quality. Van Rooyen probably should have kicked more goals. He was exceptional for them. And then they just had midfielders chipping in for goals. Cozzy Pickett should have had 4 goals probably. So yeah, it wasn't a great day for the back line. I think there was some good performance there. I think you look at Cooper Harvey's game, he was exceptional. I thought 28. Some of his deliveries inside 50 were beautiful. I think we need to get the ball in Cooper's hands more when going inside 50, because I genuinely think he's like maybe our best kick in the team, maybe outside of Harry Sheezel. So really good performance from Cooper Harvey. I think his development as a defender is credit to the club for moving him down back, because they saw something in him that maybe not all of us did. And I think his move has been a masterstroke by, Clarko or whoever's decision that was. So Cooper Harvey was really, really good again. I think he's cemented his place in this side. I think it's going to be hard for whoever else is in the VFL in the back line in that kind of position to get in, because Cooper Harvey's not put a foot wrong, I don't think, since he's come back into the team. Core not at his best, I don't think. He had a decent performance against the Pies last week, but he wasn't at it. But I think one play that was really good was Charlie Comben. His development this year has been exceptional. I think, myself included, we can be a bit harsh on Comben because of some of the mistakes he makes, but those mistakes are getting less and less. I don't think he made an error, really. He gave away a free kick in the goal square, but I don't think he's done too much wrong these last 2 months. I genuinely think he's been one of our best players, and he's stepping up big time. We just need a better number one defender to be aside him, because I think he will just become even more of an important player for us when we get that back line right. That number one key defender position has to be the number one priority going into the trade period. Whether that's a Jacob Wiedering, whether that's a Jordan Butts, we need someone really solid down there that we can trust in one-on-one contests. And I think Core's done okay. I think Logue has had some games where he's been good, but we need more consistency than that. We need a stronger number one key defender, and I unfortunately for Core and Logue and Pink, then they're not going to quite cut it for the development of this team, and for the development of Comben I'd say Comben will be our second key defender, so he's not always playing on the best player. But yeah, Charlie Comben was just brilliant. Caleb was alright, 27 touches, did his thing. I thought Zara was actually quite good. Elmac didn't get much of the ball, but I think he had a bit of a shutdown role on Chandler. I think he did alright. I'm pretty sure he was playing on Chandler. Colby, 26 touches, went in the midfield a little bit more. Only the one clearance, and I don't think he was impactful with the ball. Unfortunately, I think Colby's in a bit of a rut, and I think we need to find where his position is. I think we're just moving him around so much, trying to figure out where he's suited best. I think we just got to commit with Colby to a certain position. I get we can't always play him in the back line with Caleb and Cooper Harvey there. I think we have to do a little bit of rearranging with some of our positionings because it's not quite working. As previously mentioned, the 4 key forwards is just not. That's not it. I like that we're not doing 3 rucks anymore, but I don't think going from 3 rucks to 4 key forwards is the move. Trembath, Whitlock, Darling, and Larkey. It's just too tall. It's clear. It's been clear the last 2 weeks that we're too tall. So I wonder if Whitlock loses his spot. I'd say so. He did kick a goal, but unfortunately, I thought he was pretty uncompetitive in the air. His timing when he's leaping at the footy is a bit off. Might be a confidence thing. Might be I'm not sure. Because there was a few times where he just jumped at the ball way too early or too late or didn't go up at all. So I think he needs a little bit more of that confidence that, for example, Cooper Trembath has, who just leaps at everything. He was good again. He's consistently putting in 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 performances every week. And he's been an absolute gem for us this year. Also want to mention Riley Hardiman and Goda. I thought they were both quite good, and I was really pleased to see them play together. They have never played an AFL game together until Saturday. And I think we have to stick with those two. I'm liking Hardiman on the wing. I'm really liking that move. Sometimes goes to the wing as well. I'm not sure if Blamires gets straight back in the team, to be honest. I think maybe we go a Blamires for a Whitlock to maybe get more speed on the ball. Because I think, as previously mentioned, we are playing a bit too tall at the minute. But Hardiman and Goda, exceptional, I thought. Just really good. And I can see these two just being really key pillars in our defence and on our wings for a long time. Speaking of the wing, I thought Dylan Stephens was actually quite good. It was one of his better performances. Only the 18 touches, but his ability to cover the ground is really good. But yeah, to be a bit more negative, I feel like I've been a bit too positive for a loss. I think there's real issues with the way that we're moving the ball and the way that we're entering inside 50. As mentioned, we had more inside 50s than them. And apart from that first quarter where it felt like we were scoring every time we went in, the scoring dried up. Like we scored 2 goals for the entire second and third and for most of the fourth. So we had 2 goals in like an hour of footy. You're not going to win a game with that. Like, for how well we started as well, it was just complete rut. Like, shout out Melbourne. Their backline is exceptional, but you can't have that many entries and scored, 2 goals in a half of footy, the second and the third quarter. That's what killed us, really. I think our inability to punish Melbourne on the scoreboard when we easily could have and we probably should have. So that's really disappointing. That's been an issue for the last month or so. Our forward line, which used to be probably our best part of the ground, and it probably still is on paper, but there's a lack of dare, I think, in the way we're entering the ball inside 50, and our ability to convert is a huge, huge issue. I think it's okay that we're not going to make Wildcard. I think the expectation wasn't to make Wildcard this year. Obviously, as a club, we wanted to, and that we strive for that, but I think in reality, we knew that it was far-fetched, and I think the media were saying the same as well. I don't think many people in the media going into this season thought we would make the wild card, and that's completely understandable. But what I'm finding weird is that they've changed their narrative a little bit. They've changed their thoughts. Back when we beat, I'm pretty sure it was Essendon, to go 8-7, we were 9th on the ladder. We were game inside the wild card. I think because we'd gotten ourselves into that position 2/3 of the way through the year, we and the media suddenly switched from North can make wild card now. And since then, we've lost 3 games: Port Adelaide, Collingwood, Melbourne. Really disappointing. These games were the test about if we can beat the teams around us rather than just the teams at the bottom. And let's be honest, we failed. We failed that test, and it's really, really disappointing. But I don't get why now they're saying it's a failure, in particular Mitch Cleary. It's a failure if North Melbourne don't make wildcard, when going into the season they had no expectations of us to make the wildcard. And maybe because we exceeded their expectations at that point after we beat Essendon in the season, having 8 wins already, they've kind of changed their tune. They've kind of now using it as a way to criticise us because we're not going to make wildcard. So it's just a bit wishy-washy. They've changed their thoughts. They've changed what they think of us and what they expect from us because of the position we got ourselves in after 15 games. And that's fine. The media can say what they want. Every team is prone to be criticised, and I think we should be criticised for our last 3 games. We've not been good enough. But to say that it's a disappointing season if we don't make wildcard is just wrong. It just is. We've won 3 games more this year. We're going to have a much better percentage. We've been way more competitive in games. We've beaten teams this year that we haven't beaten in the past years, and we've not dropped games to Essendon and Richmond that maybe in past years we do. So I think just in hindsight, it is a successful season. Not in that we should be overly happy with, let's say we do end the season just with 8 wins. Obviously, the way we've ended and the way we might end the season could be bitterly disappointing. But I think if we look at it, it's still improvement. Undeniably, it's a 3-game improvement in terms of our win count. And we could easily win another game or 2 for the year. St Kilda, that's a very winnable game. They're pretty similar level to us, I'd say. Both of us have not beaten a top 10 team, and we're playing against each other. So I think I'd love to get another win or 2 for the season. I think 9 wins or 10 wins is a lot better than 8. And going into the season, I predicted we'd win 8. So they've met my expectations so far, but I think we can get another win for the season, and the St Kilda game is most likely. I think Bulldogs, Hawthorn, Geelong and Sydney are very difficult games, and I would not be surprised if we lose all of them comfortably. But I just want us, if we're competitive for the rest of the season and can maybe get a win or 2, I'd be happy with that. And I'm not settling for that. I'm not saying that, we're cool, like, we're good now, we're good, we're like, that's a great season, well done. No, it's improvement, but it's slow improvement, and we have to deal with that. We're still a young side. We're still growing. It's still only Clarko's 3rd year, really, because I don't really count 2023 as his first year because he wasn't there for most of it. So people keep on saying you've been rebuilding for 10 years. It's just not true. We have been rebuilding for 10 years, but they've been different rebuilds. You can't have 4 different coaches within that span and say that is the same rebuild. It's not. This is the Alistair Clarkson rebuild. Previously, it was the David Noble rebuild. Before that, it was the Reece Shaw rebuild. And before that, it was the Brad Scott rebuild after 2016. So, it's not the same rebuild. This is the Clarkson rebuild. We're in the 3rd year of it. And we had a chance this season where we genuinely, and other people genuinely believed we could make the 10. And that's huge, because we haven't had that feeling of think we might make finals. And obviously, it sucks that it's not going to come to fruition. But the fact that we thought that we might, and that we actually had a sniff, and that we are winning games of footy now, not the last 3 weeks, unfortunately, is a big credit to the club, the coaches, and how we've developed. It is slow, but people need to relax, like seriously. Look at some of the other teams around us, like Richmond, they're really struggling. West Coast, they're playing a bit better this year, but they still only have, I think, 3 wins, maybe 4 wins for the year. Port Adelaide still have less wins than us. They're competitive, but they've still got less wins than us. These are teams, yes, maybe a little bit behind us in their rebuilds, but those teams have premiership players that have gone deep into finals. It's not like they're scrubs. So I think we need to be less harsh on ourselves, and the AFL world needs to be less harsh on us. But yeah, sorry, went on a bit of a tangent there, but I think it's important to point out. But yeah, just to sum it up, it was disappointing, I'd say. We played some of our best footy for the year in that first quarter, and then we played pretty mediocre for the rest of the game, to be honest. But that's right, Melbourne are a good team. We can't forget that they are a good team. Would have been really, really good to get the win. Sorry if I wasn't critical enough on this episode. I feel like it's not going to do anything if I'm just trashing the players the whole time. So maybe if we lose to St Kilda, I'll be a little bit more critical, but I'm just saying what I feel now. Maybe if I recorded right after the game, I'd be a little bit angry, a little bit more disappointed, but I am disappointed, but I'm not, it's not the end of the world, like we've still got some of the season left, and that St Kilda game is really big. I think if we lose that, that's where I'll be a bit concerned, and then going into those last 4 games, I won't be very confident we could even have a sniff. So let's see how we do against St Kilda before I say too much. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Go subscribe over on YouTube, also on Spotify, Instagram and TikTok, Talking North on all socials. I will see you guys next week for the St Kilda preview.